when we're talking about relationships, what's the primary relationship, the first one that we need to get right?
God. Us and God.
God, our relationship with God. God comes first. What's the second one? What?
That was easy. I took the easy one.
Family.
Family's number 2. Your second priority. Get God first, then family's number 2. What's number 3?
Everyone else?
Huh?
Everyone else?
Everyone else around you. And what's number 4?
Self? Self.
Me. And the first thing it says is, do not be wise in your own eyes. Don't exalt yourself. Jesus said it another way. He said, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Meaning, if you put yourself last and other people first, then God will put you first. And what are the consequences of honoring God? Also, he says, he gives a teaching here on the first fruits. Why do we need to give away the first fruits? Now,
well, you'll have a bigger crop for the rest of the time.
So I have a bigger crop than my neighbor, I'll have bigger grandkids.
It definitely works.
Works too, doesn't it? I remember the first time I said something about that. Chris went home and dug some potatoes and gave it to his neighbor. Best potato crop he ever had in his life, and this man knows how to grow potatoes. So what was the only difference that year?
I gave away the first part of it.
He honored God's word. He gave away the first fruits, and what happened? Had the best potato crop he's ever had. And it really does work. But why are we supposed to do that? What is the underlying reason to do it?
Put you last.
Huh?
Put you last.
Yeah,
the best.
but in a certain way.
Teaches us to give.
What?
Teaches us to give the way
Not be selfish.
He gave us Jesus.
They're the sweetest fruits.
Huh?
You give away the best, the sweetest.
Give away the best, the sweetest. Let me read it to you, and then you tell me what the true underlining meaning here is. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled with overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. So what is being controlled here? It's you. You're putting yourself last, but a certain temptation that we all have in our life.
Hoarding.
Hoarding wealth. Hoarding money. What's the Bible say? The love of money is the root of all evil. And if you look at what's going on in the world today, it all comes down to the dollar. It all comes down to oil. It all comes down to we're polluting land to have higher profits. We're doing all kind of dumb things with the creation that God gave us for the almighty buck. And we're supposed to be a generous people, a giving people. Somebody who does things without any thought of return. And if we're not that way, we don't offer the world anything but the same thing they've already got. Okay? It's the way the world is today is not the way it's supposed to be. And we should try to live our lives the way it's supposed to be. If anything's going to get you, it'll probably be money. In the end. If anything's going to steal your peace or rob you of... now, I'm not saying we're not supposed to prepare for retirement. I'm not saying we're not supposed to save. I'm not saying any of that. But when money becomes a top priority, your life becomes a worried, worthless mess. Okay? And if you give away your first fruits, and if you discipline yourself with respect to money, what's the end result? Your barns will be filled with overflowing, and your vats will brim with new wine. He'll make you the most prosperous guy around. If you don't let it control you, if you don't let it become your God, then he doesn't care how rich you are. He wants you to be rich. He wants you to have nice things. He wants to bless his children, just like you want to bless your children. But you have to discipline yourself with that money, or the money will become your God. And if you don't, your nice things are going to be your downfall. I had a friend who was a missionary to the Kickapoo Indians in Oklahoma, and he told me one time, after he first got out there, he had a nice cattle herd while he was out there, and he pretty much used it to feed the Indian kids after school. And he told me one day, he said, Bill, if you don't tithe, your cows will die. If you don't tithe, your cows will die. In other words, if you are stingy and don't tithe and don't give God his share, he'll take away those things that are most important to you in order to get you back. He'll take them away from you. And Ronnie was a farmer. He loved cowboys, and he loved riding, and he loved his cattle. But and he's speaking from his heart. I mean, it doesn't mean anything if you don't have any cows. But he said, if you don't give God his share and put him first, your cows are going to die. Now with me, it would be my bass boat would sink. And with over there, it'd be his new boat would break. But
One I never use.
well, I mean, if you can't come to Sunday school during deer season, your deer stand's probably going to crack in the middle. That's what Ronnie was saying. That's what he was meaning. If that thing that is separating you from God gets in the way, God's going to take it out of the way. And for Ronnie, it was good. Okay, you done good. Good answers. 13 through 18.
Blessed is a man who finds wisdom, the man who gains understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold. She is more precious than rubies, nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who embrace her. Those who lay hold of her will be blessed.
Okay. You notice, did a question pop up as he was reading this? Did you notice something?
Yeah, I have a question. It's not often that it's referred to as, she and a woman. It's usually referring to he.
Yeah, exactly. Why did he starts out masculine. He said, blessed is the man who finds wisdom, the man who gains understanding, and then he starts speaking about the wisdom, and he speaks of her in the feminine.
Yeah, at first I just thought Josh was being politically correct.
I try not to ever do that.
The answer is, eh. That's not being politically correct. He did this for a very important reason. And that's a nice catch, Mike. Nice catch.
I guess maybe because I guess in a sense maybe a woman basically gives birth to pleasing and suitable things, maybe.
Really good point.
Kind of like that. I'm not really sure how to
Okay,
say it.
no.
Let's face it, they're smarter than we are.
That's a good point.
I hate to say it, I'm not trying to score any brownie points, but they can do laundry with a baby on their hip, and dishwater running, and if I try to do more than one thing at a time, the sink overflows, I put bleach in the colored clothes, and I can only focus on one
We're supposed to
thing.
do housework and have babies. No.
Pardon me?
We're supposed to do housework and have babies.
Let's just say you're better at it. I would wash the baby and burp the dishes.
That's not saying it makes them smarter, but it makes them better multitasking.
Way better.
Smarter? I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just,
Easy there.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go somewhere we don't know. Gotta back up there.
These are both good points. What's another point?
Well, they're talking about a guy finding wisdom, and wisdom if you use the female sense, I guess, that he's attracted to it, he wants to gain it, you know, the male and female counterpart. So maybe that's why they call wisdom a her, because it's something he longs for and wants.
Okay. Guys, especially young guys, their attention changes to women, and that is their desire for a
It's our
while.
downfall.
Most of them. Most of them does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our
Another
downfall.
lesson.
Well, let's just keep it on the legitimate. Okay, what else? Who is the nurturer in the family?
Mother.
The mother. When the grandkids fall down and skin their knee, and I say, "Hey, what's wrong?" they run right past me and look for Janice. They don't stop and try to get sympathy out of old grandpa. They head straight for grandma and Grammy, 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 and gone. I mean, it's like, come here, I can kiss it. Oh, they go straight for grandma because that's where the nurturing is. That's where, and if you look at the culture back then, the kids belonged to the mother for 12 years. And then at 12 years old, the boys went through the bar mitzvah, or the rite of passage for the Jewish nation, and they became men. And then the husband, the father, took the kids away from the mother and started teaching them a trade, started teaching them, in Jesus' case, how to be a carpenter. He started teaching his son the carpenter's trade. A farmer would have started teaching his son the farm trade, or how to do crops, how to take care of vines, how to prune fruit trees. I spent the whole week pruning fruit trees. And I was taught by my grandpa how to do it. When I became old enough to climb a ladder and use a pruner and understand what he was trying to say. So up until that point, the mother nurtured the child. The mother taught the child morals and right from wrong, and disciplined the child. And then at the age of 12, the women started learning to be housewives and mothers, and the boys started learning a trade from their father. And then about the age of 30, the men married and left the home and set up their own homes. And about the age of 13, 14, 15, the girls became mothers or became wives and left their home. So the mother had the first 12 years. What are the most important years of your life?
What are, you said?
What are the most important years of your life?
First 4 or 5.
First 4, 5, 6 years, your personality is set. And then from 6 to about 12, your morals or your values are set. And if it's not done by the age of 12, then it's a fight. I mean, then it's a fight. And it's very, very important that a set of values, set of morals, work ethic, all those things are established between birth and the age of 12. And then after that, life is a lot easier. Who's in charge of all that? The mother, the grandmother, the women of the household are in charge of all that. And what's it say about wisdom then? Wisdom is that nurturing, that wisdom, that knowledge, that morality, that work ethic that is going to prepare you for the whole rest of your life. And if you get it early, your life will be smoother. If you have to fight for it later, then it's going to be a lot more work, and it's going to be a lot tougher and a lot harder for you to become established. There's a statistic that said if a child has not been taught about God and it's not made a decision to become a Christian before the age of 18, there's only a 10% chance he'll ever do it after the age of 18. If we don't lay down the groundwork, if we don't lay down a sense of morality and a sense of work ethic up until that point, then the chances of their life being prosperous and productive is really nil. That's not to say that they can't overcome it, but being able to overcome it is going to be a tough, tough road out. And that statistic doesn't come from the church. That statistic comes from psychology books you get in college. So, wisdom is the nurturing, the preparation part of us to establish a foundation that we can build on for the whole rest of our life. That's why they're called sheep, because the female is the one that nurtures the child. Dad's off trying to make the cows behave. Mom's at home breaking up the fights. 19 and 20.
By wisdom the Lord laid the earth's foundations. By understanding he set the heavens in place. By his knowledge the deeps were divided, and the clouds let drop the dew.
All righty. How's the universe doing?
The universe is fine. The universe is fine.
The universe is doing fine.
Yeah.
Everything in its place, orbiting correctly. I mean, we can tell you exactly where Mars is going to be 15 years from now on the 15th of October. They can put a dot on the ceiling of the what do they call those places?
Observatory.
Planetarium.
Planetarium.
Yeah, yeah. They can put a dot on there and say that's where Mars is going to be. Don't harass me. They can put a dot up there and say that's where Mars is going to be on October 15th, 15 years from now, and you go back in 15 years, it's going to be exactly right there. We know exactly where it's going to be. It's just like clockwork. Now, there's a few asteroids wandering around that are doing their own thing, but they're obeying all the laws of physics. When they come into a gravitational field, they do exactly what that gravitational field was made for them to do. And even though it seems like they're a little chaotic, they're doing exactly what they should be doing, where they're at, and when they're there. Okay?
And it's interesting you say that because it was like, I think last weekend, right after it got dark, I saw Orion coming up over the trees in the east. And I was like, yeah, winter's on its way. Anytime you see Orion coming up.
Exactly.
And it was kind of
right.
chilly too.
And God said that He put the seasons in the stars so that we would know when winter's coming, and when fall's coming, and when to plant, and when to sow.
The big ring around the moon, you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
And you only see that in fall and winter. I've seen it there, I don't know, a week or so.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's the crystal, about cold and.
I'm not sure what does it, but it'll rain or snow 2 days, up to 2 days after that, usually, if you see that.
So now all that was laid in place by the wisdom of God and by the understanding, His understanding of the heavens. Okay? So the universe is doing just fine. How's society doing? We're in charge of that.
Horrible.
Pretty sad.
Really fun being a teacher, isn't it?
Sometimes.
You can just, I mean, I remember when I was in the 2nd grade, I had ADD. And Mrs. Hunt came along and smacked the back of my knuckles with a 12-inch ruler, and I started paying attention. Huh?
Yeah, I love it when they say, well, I didn't take my medicine today. And I'm like, so? You've got to try harder. I said, your boss is not going to care. So.
I mean, how's society doing? In our wisdom, we have established this mess. And how's it going? I remember when I was a kid, I can never remember a house key.
I don't think we even had locks.
We had those old skeleton locks, but I had never saw a key. And nobody ever took anything that we had.
My kids locked me out of the house. My kids locked me out of my house Thursday. They forgot to put the key back in the hiding spot.
Jennifer's got 25 locks on that house. She's only got 3 doors. She even locks the inside doors after she locks the outside doors.
You're right, I did.
And I do too.
Them Huronites, they get pretty rough.
What?
I told her the Huronites, they get pretty rough.
And if you get in, you might wish you hadn't. And it's not a better way. I've lived my life both ways, and it's not a better way to live your life. It's not. Remember when I was a kid, somebody'd walk up on the door and say, "Hey, anybody home?" And the windows were open, the doors were open. And I don't ever remember the house being that horribly hot. Of course, we had trees all the way around it. It was in the shade all day long. But people would walk on the porch and say, "Hey, anybody home?" Josh was out at my house the other day, and I guess it was in the basement or something, and he knocked, and I didn't, everything's locked up and all the windows are closed, and you can't yell in and say, "Hey, Bill, are you home?" And I missed him. I'm not sure how I missed him, but, well, I know how I missed him. All the doors are locked, and all the windows are closed, and I was down in the basement probably doing something on the wood lathe or something, and I missed him. That would have never happened when I was a kid. Somebody would have yelled in the window, and you'd have heard them, and you'd have went out and spent the afternoon on the porch. Now everything's locked up, everything's closed up, and we hide in our houses rather than live in them, I think.
I remember when we were kids, like if you needed a tool or something, if the neighbors weren't home, you just go get it and never asked or nothing. I mean, but now.
Well, you took it back.
Yeah.
You took it back.
But now you don't do that.
Now if you walk out and your tool's missing, you might as well go buy another one because it's not coming back home. But when I was a kid, there was one rototiller in the whole neighborhood, and everybody used it. I don't even know who it belonged to, but everybody used it. And now, you either own your own or use a shovel or pay somebody to do it for you because it's a whole different world, and I don't like it that way. So I don't charge people for tilling their gardens. I like it the old way. I think it should be the old way. So God's wisdom was applied to the universe. Everything's going great. We applied our wisdom to society, and watch your back. It's ugly out there. 21 through 24.
My son, preserve sound judgment and discernment. Do not let them out of your sight. They will be life for you, an ornament to grace your neck. Then you will go on your way in safety, and your foot will not stumble. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Keep going.
24.
That was 24.
Huh?
That was 24.
Okay, he shifts here. First he's talking about the relationship with God, and now what's he talking about? First he's talking about God's discipline, and now he's talking about
Sound judgment,
Your own.
discernment.
which is self-discipline. He's talking about me disciplining myself. He said, hey, preserve sound judgment and discernment. Where does judgment and discernment come from? When I judge somebody, where does it come from?
Your own understanding.
It comes from me. It comes from my mind. I look at it and I make an evaluation. I make a discernment. And then I kind of decide whether that person ought to die or not. Well, not die or not.
Was he looking at you or me?
You were looking a little glum there. But I look at somebody and I make this judgment whether I can trust them or not, whether I should pick them up if they're hitchhiking or not. I make these judgments all day long, and they're supposed to be discerning judgments. Now, where did discernment come from?
Wisdom.
Hmm?
Wisdom.
Comes from wisdom. Where does wisdom come from?
The Spirit.
Hmm?
The Spirit. God.
Spirit of God. Read 1 Corinthians chapter 12. The gifts of the Spirit, both discernment and wisdom, are a gift of the Holy Spirit. So within me, I have this voice that's trying to direct my mind and direct my actions. And this voice is saying, do it, don't do it. Stay away from that. There's this other little voice saying, go ahead and do it. Because Satan will never stop claiming me from being God's child. That war is going to be fought all the way to my last breath. But I've come to know his voice. And I know whether it's the good voice or the bad voice. And then it becomes my choice to go left or to go right. Why did I look at him? The kids are hungry. Let's let them.
Good luck, kid.